Imagine sitting across from the person you love, the person you're planning to marry, and hearing them calmly confess to murder. Most people believe they'd instantly run away, call the police, disappear, never look back. But that's not what happened in Netflix's disturbing documentary, Should I Marry a Murderer? Instead, Caroline stayed. And that single decision shocked millions of viewers online. But the deeper you look into this case, the more uncomfortable the story becomes. Because this documentary isn't just about murder. It's about manipulation, emotional dependency, fear, and how dangerous relationships slowly trap people psychologically long before they realize what's happening. Tonight, we're breaking down the disturbing psychology behind the case, and why so many viewers are divided over Caroline's actions. Ever since the documentary released, social media has been flooded with the same question. How could someone stay after hearing a confession like that? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. But psychologists and relationship experts often warn that abusive or manipulative relationships rarely begin with fear. They begin with comfort, attention, validation, connection, emotional dependency, and by the time the danger appears, the victim may already be emotionally trapped. That's what makes this documentary so disturbing, because many viewers slowly realize this wasn't simply a story about bad decisions. It was a story about how manipulation changes human behavior. Like many modern relationships, everything started online. Caroline met Sandy through a dating platform. At first, things moved quickly. The connection felt intense, personal, exciting. According to Caroline, she felt understood. And that emotional intensity is important, because experts often describe something called love bombing. Love bombing happens when someone overwhelms another person with attention, affection, constant communication, and emotional validation very early in a relationship. To the victim, it feels like finding the perfect partner. But psychologically, rapid emotional attachment can create dependency before trust is actually earned. This is one reason manipulative relationships can become so powerful. The victim becomes emotionally invested before recognizing danger. And looking back, many viewers now believe the relationship escalated unusually fast. Then came the confession. Sandy revealed something horrifying. He claimed he had killed someone. And this is the exact moment viewers expected Caroline to leave immediately. But instead, she stayed connected to him. This became the most controversial part of the documentary. Online reactions exploded. Some viewers called her naive. Others believed she was psychologically manipulated. And some people argued that fear itself may have prevented her from acting rationally. Because in traumatic situations, the human brain doesn't always react logically. Sometimes people fight. Sometimes they run. But very often, people freeze. Psychologists call this the freeze response. When the brain becomes overwhelmed by fear and emotional shock, decision-making becomes impaired. And if emotional attachment already exists, the situation becomes even more psychologically confusing, especially if the manipulator alternates between fear and affection. This is where the story becomes much darker psychologically. Experts often describe something called trauma bonding. A trauma bond happens when emotional affection becomes mixed with fear, anxiety, and dependency. The relationship becomes emotionally addictive. And from the outside, people watching often ask, why didn't they just leave? But trauma bonding changes perception. The victim may begin defending the abuser, rationalizing behavior, or convincing themselves things will improve. One of the most disturbing things viewers noticed in the documentary was how emotionally conflicted Caroline appeared. At times she seemed terrified. At other moments, she still appeared emotionally attached. That contradiction confused many viewers. But according to psychologists, this emotional confusion is extremely common in manipulative relationships, especially when the victim has already built their future emotionally around the relationship. After watching the documentary, Many viewers began pointing out warning signs that now seem obvious in hindsight. These included extreme emotional intensity early in the relationship, controlling behavior, emotional dependency, secrecy, and psychological isolation. One of the biggest dangers in manipulative relationships is gradual normalization. Small red flags appear slowly over time. And because each step happens gradually, the victim adapts emotionally without realizing how serious the situation has become. This is why dangerous relationships rarely feel dangerous at the beginning. They evolve slowly, and by the time the victim realizes the severity of the situation, they may already feel trapped emotionally, financially, or psychologically. One reason "Should I Marry a Murderer?" became so viral is because viewers reacted emotionally. The internet became deeply divided. Some people sympathized with Caroline. Others believed she ignored obvious signs. And many criticized law enforcement and questioned whether authorities responded seriously enough. But the documentary also triggered something uncomfortable for viewers. It forced people to ask themselves what they would actually do in a similar situation. Because it's easy to believe we would always act rationally. But fear, loneliness, emotional dependency, and manipulation can dramatically change human decision-making. That psychological realism is what made the documentary so disturbing. Ironically, the scariest part of this documentary wasn't the murder confession itself. It was how ordinary the relationship initially seemed. There were no dramatic horror movie scenes at first. No obvious villain introduction. Just emotional connection slowly turning into psychological control. And that's what frightened audiences the most. Because stories like this force viewers to realize something deeply uncomfortable. Manipulative relationships often don't look dangerous in the beginning. They look normal, sometimes even loving, until slowly, they become something else entirely. Should I Marry a Murderer? Became one of Netflix's most talked about documentaries because it exposed more than just a crime story. It exposed how vulnerable human psychology can become under emotional pressure. And that's why audiences can't stop debating Caroline's decisions. Some viewers believe she was manipulated. Others believe she ignored obvious warning signs. But one thing is certain. This documentary sparked a conversation far bigger than murder itself. It became a discussion about fear, attachment, control, and the terrifying psychology behind why people sometimes stay in dangerous relationships. But what do you think? Was Caroline manipulated psychologically? Or were the warning signs impossible to ignore? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy dark true crime stories, psychological breakdowns, and disturbing documentaries explained, subscribe to NoirScope for more deep dives every week.